The Israel-Hamas war that erupted in October 2023 was undeniably horrific in scale and consequence. In this video series, we aim to unpack the timeline and key events that precipitated the fighting through an impartial, factual lens. By presenting a holistic account from available sources, we hope viewers can become better informed and reach their own conclusions about this complex conflict. October 8, 2023. A fateful day that rapidly escalated tensions into outright conflagration. According to Israeli officials, the violence began with an unforeseen barrage of Hamas rocket fire across Israel's civilian centers. However, some analysts debate whether initial strikes instead originated from Israel's side, triggering the Hamas retaliation. In the months prior, low-level attacks had been simmering between Gaza and southern Israel. Each side alleged provocation by the other, but nothing foreshadowed the major Hamas assault launched on October 8th. That morning, Israeli media first reported loud explosions caused by incoming Hamas rocket fire. Over 3,000 rockets would ultimately fall in the span of days, reaching as far as Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. This represented one of the largest single missile bombardments Israel had ever faced. Israel's Iron Dome defense system intercepted many rockets, but the sheer scale of projectiles ensured substantial impact. At least 275 Israelis died in the attacks according to Israeli figures, including both soldiers and civilians. Israel declared it an unprovoked act of terror. However, Palestinians presented an alternative timeline. Sources in Gaza claimed the Israeli town of Sderot first came under mortar fire from Hamas late that night on October 7th into the early hours of the 8th. They contend this was in response to an initial Israeli airstrike. Israel has not officially confirmed carrying out strikes prior to the Hamas rocket barrage. But some analysts argue the timeline of Israel preemptively striking Gaza before October 8th is plausible. They cite Israel's military doctrine of hitting imminent threats first to mitigate risks. If Israel did initiate strikes the night before, it likely deemed action justified to curb an expected Hamas attack. However, lacking public acknowledgement from Israel, the timing remains disputed. Palestinian witnesses emphasized feeling compelled to retaliate given the scale of suffering in Gaza after years living under Israeli blockade. But independent groups concur that Hamas launching over 3,000 rockets was a wholly disproportionate and inexcusable response, regardless of any preceding events. In the days following October 8th, the UN Security Council convened an emergency session condemning Hamas's attacks and affirming Israel's right to self-defense. Israel commenced a major aerial offensive targeting reported militant sites and tunnel networks in Gaza. Missile exchanges and air raids intensified over the following weeks. Israel stated its aim was eliminating Hamas's capability to continue rocket fire. But the bombings caused substantial collateral damage in Gaza's densely populated areas. According to UN tallies, over 850 Palestinians died in the first 3 weeks, predominantly civilians, including many children. Israel defended its conduct as measured against Hamas's activities in urban areas. With world leaders urging restraint, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised firm military action, ultimately threatening a ground invasion of Gaza to decisively defeat Hamas. Israel called up thousands of reservists in preparation for an incursion. Hamas proved resistant, continuing rocket attacks despite Israel's overwhelming air superiority. After 3 weeks of aerial exchanges, the fighting remained deadlocked with casualties mounting on both sides. In conclusion, while the full truth may never be verifiable, available information indicates simmering tensions erupted on October 8th into open conflict of tragic proportions. Israel maintains its strikes came only after surprise Hamas rocket attacks. But some evidence suggests Israel may have struck first in Gaza, triggering retaliation. Irrespective of which side fired first, following events proved both were willing to use disproportionate force with devastating costs to civilians. In upcoming videos, we will analyze key phases of the war to better understand the adversary's mindsets and decisions. We aim not to apportion blame, but to spur thoughtful discourse on how we can build a more peaceful future. What facts or perspectives around the war's outbreak stand out to you? Let us know in the comments. As always, our goal is not to push any one viewpoint, only to rigorously examine available information from all sides. Understanding truth requires acknowledging different vantage points in even the most contested events. We hope analyzing this conflict through an impartial lens provides insights to help move forward. In this first video, we aim to objectively examine the immediate events at the outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas in October 2023. In the next installment, we'll delve into the broader history underpinning the conflict. We'll provide context on factors like Israel's formation, Palestinian displacement, Hamas's founding, key wars, peace efforts, and more. Understanding the rich historical backdrop is crucial to comprehending the clashing mindsets that led to outright war in 2023. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for this important context. Let us know your thoughts so far as we build towards a holistic understanding of this complex conflict. Our goal remains factual analysis without bias. See you again and pray for world peace.